Ms. Miki Yamada, former State Minister of Environment and former member of the House of Representatives. Mr. Itsu Adachi, Executive Director, Sasakawa Peace Foundation. I also take this opportunity to welcome all our viewers from all over the globe who will be joining us virtually today. And of course, all our esteemed delegates present here in the room. May I invite on stage? We are being joined by our Honorable Chief Minister, we are very happy to welcome our guest of honor, the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, Mr. Conrad Sangma. Welcome, sir. We also have with us His Excellency Ambassador Ono Keiichi, Ambassador Extraordinaire to India and the Kingdom of Bhutan. And with us, we also have the Executive Director, Mr. Sabyasachi Datta, Asian Conference. I now request our Ambassador Deepa Ma'am to please felicitate our guest of honor and the ambassador. May I now request the ED Asian Conference to please felicitate Ms. Yamada and Mr. Adichie. May I hand over the chair to you, Deepa ma'am, to take.
Honorable Chief Minister, Sir, of Meghalaya, Mr. Conrad Sangma, His Excellency Ambassador Ono Keiichi, Ambassador of Japan to India, Madame Miki Yamada, former member of the House of Representatives of Japan and former State Minister for Environment, who is here with us, Mr. Itsu Adachi, Executive Director of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you who've been participating here for the last 2 days in Kizuna, good afternoon to all of you. We are indeed very honored by the presence of the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, who has joined us today at the 5th India-Japan Intellectual Conclave, Kizuna. As you know, this conclave, which is in its 5th iteration, is supported by the Ministry of External Affairs, the Embassy of Japan in India, the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, and the local government in the state where it's held. So the 4th conclave was held in Meghalaya in Shillong last year and was also an extremely successful venture and had a huge participation from everywhere. Asian Confluence, as you know, sir, has a very special connection with Shillong because that is where we are located. And it is with your support and your encouragement that over these years we've been able to grow our relationship not only with Japan, but in the region and with other countries. And we hope and look forward to your support in what we do. Sir, I was there in Shillong, I think in 2018, with former Japanese ambassador to India, His Excellency Ambassador Kenji Hiramatsu, and you were kind enough to come to the Asian Confluence for an event, I recall. And I think it was from there that I could tell you that our relationship has very steadily grown with Japan. I'm also aware that your interest and interaction in Japan actually precedes you becoming Chief Minister, because you were a part of the FICCI MPs group that used to regularly visit Japan. So one is really happy to see that, you know, in this very key relationship of ours, that you have personally had a great role to play. We are aware that, again, that you were recently in Japan just a few months ago, and that your skill initiative, the reason for which you went was really very special. There is this skill initiative, and there were 27 nurses from Meghalaya who had found placements in Japan. And the Honorable Chief Minister went there and personally met them to see how well they had settled in. So I think this is the sort of caring environment that we have in Meghalaya, and we're looking forward to really growing this skill initiative and also other connections with Japan. Before I invite, in fact, the Honorable Chief Minister to give his valedictory address, I must talk about another very special connection between Shillong and Japan, and in which I was sort of slightly involved. And this is the Sakura Festival, or rather the Cherry Blossom Festival. Several years ago, there was a group that came from Japan, and they came to plant some cherry blossoms in Japan, in Shillong. Shillong has its own variety of really beautiful cherry blossoms, and they started in Shillong under his leadership, Cherry Blossom Festival, which falls in November. And this has increasingly been getting a lot of tourists from all over India and abroad. It's really something that I think if you haven't been, you should visit. Last year, Japan was the partner country at this event. So this connection between Japan and Shillong and Meghalaya has been growing. Sir, I am very, very grateful that you're here today to deliver the valedictory address. We've had 1.5 days of very intensive discussions and had wonderful panels. But before I request you to deliver your address, I'll ask Sabyasachi Datta to kindly to talk about the events of the last day and a half, and thereafter, if you could please come and take the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, His Excellency, the Ambassador, Adachi-san, Yamada Sensei. We are really happy, and I take this opportunity again to welcome Honorable Chief Minister. I just will take a few minutes to give you all, and especially for the benefit of our Chief Minister, a review of what key takeaways of the few sessions we've had over the last 1.5 days. So we started our program yesterday in this 5th Kizuna, and we have a very sterling attendance spanning all the development agencies, JICA, JETRO from India and Bangladesh, the ADB SASEC head. There are lots of companies from across the semiconductor, logistics, and skilling spaces from Japan who are in India, as well as from Japan. There are friends from Japan who have flown all of the way across from think tanks, and we have a former minister of the government of Japan with us here, and the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. Yesterday there was a field trip to the Tata OSAT semiconductor site, which is coming up in Jagi Road, and there was also a visit to an orange plantation near that area, which is just adjoining the borders of Meghalaya, actually. We had a session yesterday as a curtain raiser, which we called kind of reviewing the state of connectivity in the region. As we know, there are challenges in this region, especially with regards to what's happening in some of the neighboring countries across the border. But nevertheless, I think we had a very good rundown on what are the projects that are going on as even now, and what are the plans ahead in terms of road connectivity, rail connectivity, digital connectivity, waterways, customs harmonizations, and a slew of other activities that are going on this. And the message is that a huge amount of hardware and software already exists. The challenge is, how do we all put the dots together, and how do we plug the holes? That's a big challenge. Particularly the political connectivity in the region is somewhere, I think, where a lot of work needs to be done. Yesterday, we also had the Chief Minister of Assam as the inaugural speaker. You are the valedictory speaker here. And the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam proposed setting up an industrial town near the Tata Semiconductor factory, which is again would have great ramifications for both the states of Meghalaya and Assam, I think, in coming days. And also a skill development center. Also the ADB is working in Assam on a skill development university. We had a session on co-creating industrial value chains in the Bay of Bengal. And I think the takeaway was that, and we had a representative from Bangladesh, we had a representative from Bhutan, the BIMSTEC Secretariat, from the ADB and scholars, and also the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Embassy of Japan in Bangladesh. The takeaway is there's lots of opportunity, lots of work can be done, and the logistics is, there's a lot of work to be done on the logistics area. This morning, we had company presentations by people who are actually working on the ground in sending human resource personnel from the Northeast region to Japan. And I think we are all amazed by the amount of success stories by these companies who have achieved. Really a lot of people from the region have come in and doing a lot of good work. We also had a presentation from the JETRO, where a lot of open areas in how to create a more conducive business environment was discussed. We had a special session on the ecosystem around the upcoming semiconductor and high-tech industry. I think this is like somebody mentioned that what Suzuki was to India in the automobile sector, I think the Tata semiconductor could be here in the semiconductor sector. I mean, we could rally around a whole host of industries across the semiconductor industry and the semiconductor plant that is coming up with the Tatas, which spans logistics, suppliers upstream and downstream, skilling, what the executives would do. It was pointed out that a lot of business visitors are expected. We also need to create infrastructure, soft infrastructure for the business people who are going to come. And I think that again, there lies enormous scope for the adjacent of Meghalaya and Assam. We have wonderful golf courses, cherry blossoms in Meghalaya, and whether it's tourism, whether it's skill, whether it's manpower, I think there's a lot of scope for building synergies of ecosystem spanning this semiconductor sector across the two states of Assam and Meghalaya. There was a need also for pointing out that there's a lot of need for energy, clean energy and stable energy. And there are companies here who are working on carbon neutral energy and a lot of scope for biogas plant made from animal waste, biomass. And I think there are companies here who would also be very interested to look at this ecosystem around Meghalaya and Assam. Lastly, just before this session, we had another session on the education sector, where I think this area of skilling and education has been pointed out in every session, how important it is. It is sort of the operating system and the understructure of all that we are talking about in terms of building ecosystems. How to create the right human resource. And one of the panelists pointed out that we also need to, while we are doing projects, we need to not only do it well, but we need to know why we did it well. And if we have not done it well, we need to know why we did not do it well. So it's kind of looking at the problems, looking at analyzing, post the project happened or while it's happening, or how to find a problem really, rather than how to find a solution. So I think, and something that we should probably reflect on, so that we don't replicate our failures and we can replicate our, we can learn from our failures, avoid them in the future, and also, replicate our successes. we are eagerly looking forward to the valedictory address of the Honorable CM, after which we will have the last session of this conference, this Kizuna, which is built on the theme of building building bridges of people, building people and technology to create a sustainable, bridging people and ecosystems to create a sustainable industry. So, and that we will also be joined by honorable members of Parliament and the former Minister of Environment from Japan. So over that, I think I tried to do my best, ma'am, for a little bit of a roundup, and I think it's back to you now. May I now invite the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya to kindly deliver the valedictory address at the 5th Kizuna. Thank you.
His Excellency, Ambassador Ono Kiechi, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to India and the Kingdom of Bhutan, Madam Miki Yamada, former State Minister of Environment and former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Itsu Adachi, Executive Director of Sasakawa Peace Foundation, our Chair, Ambassador Deepa Gopalan Wadhwa, our my friend, in fact, Mr. Sabyasachi, and Shri Tapir Gaonji, dear friend who's here, Rajdeep ji, and all the other dignitaries who are present out here, Shri Bes Borwa ji, again a very old associate, and all the other participants who are here today to be part of this 5th edition of India-Japan Intellectual Conclave being organized by Asian Confluence here in Guwahati. I have a lot to say. I was just joking earlier with our ambassador that it's always a mistake to call a politician to speak, because we can speak for hours without saying anything sometimes. So I will try not to do that. But I've been very, I should say, firm believer of the strong partnership, the trust, and the relationship between our two nations. And our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has taken every step possible to ensure that the foundations that were laid truly expand and become into huge opportunities where our two nations can really work with each other and at the same time economically prosper. And it is this relationship and trust and the efforts by our Honorable Prime Minister which has motivated states like ours and many other states to take the step towards improving that partnership at the state level also with Japan. I'm very, very clear in terms of the strategy for a state like ours. We're not a very big state, and there are certain areas of strengths that we have, certain opportunities that we have, and we would like to be very focused in the way we move forward. And hence, whenever we discuss about how Meghalaya should move forward, I'm very clear with my team that we will do few things, but we will do them well. And that principle also drives us in terms of the relationship we have. We will work with few nations, but we will work with them well. And when we work with those nations also, we will focus on few things and do them well. And that is the basic strategy with which we are moving forward. And after doing all the assessment and analysis, we are very, very clear that Japan is one nation where the Northeast, and especially Meghalaya, will focus and work towards. And that is what has prompted me always to attend these programs, and even this program has been prompted by that focus and that thought process that we had. And yes, it started with my time when I was a member of parliament for about a year and a half, and I had made a visit, and along with Ficky and other members of parliament. And it was a huge learning experience for me to really be opened up to the entire work culture, the development aspect, the opportunities that our two nations shared, and the work that could happen. And that is why, in my brief discussion I had with our Honorable Ambassador, I was mentioning to him that we are already doing a lot of work. We have laid the foundations, I should say. We are putting in place the structured system. And we would like to move forward in that because we feel we have put the foundation and the base. And I was just, I think our chairperson had mentioned about the nurses. And you'll be surprised that while the agencies and the teams that were there to recruit the nurses, we only had one nurse who had gone to Japan through that program. And when we dug deeper into it, we realized that our nurses or our citizens didn't have the money for the training program, which cost about $1.5 lakh. And the parents didn't trust those agencies. And the parents didn't want to send the children away so far. So we realized that there is a problem here, but government can intervene and resolve that problem. So that's when we had the job fair. We told the students and the nurses that we will pay for your training, which we have done. And we convinced the parents that we will ensure the safety of your children to the extent that I will go myself to drop them for the first batch, just to make sure everything is good. And that's what happened about a year and a half back. And today we have close to, I just got the most recent numbers. So in about a year and a half, we have sent close to about 50 nurses. And we are now going to be, in the pipeline itself, we have about close to 500 nurses who are learning Japanese as we speak. And I expect that these numbers will swell up to about 2,000 to 3,000, and maybe hopefully even 5,000 in the next 3 to 4 years' time. And that's the kind of focus with which we are working on the human resource aspect. And as we get comfortable with this entire process, I hope that we'll be able to expand our the areas in which they work from just nursing to other skills also. And we could be a very strong human resource provider for Japan. Just to share with you, Japan, of course, as we all know, has an aging population. India is young, and Meghalaya is even younger. So almost 45% of our population is below the age of 19. So that's how young we are. And we've got a lot of kids. That's why music and football and sports is very popular in our state. And that's why as a government, we are really focusing on that too. The second area which is very, very important for us is agriculture. And again, we have already started working in agriculture with a firm in Japan. And the location is in Miyagi. And the firm is called Yats Corporation Company Limited. And we actually have imported their machines which make the logs through sawdust, with sawdust, for the shiitake mushroom. And we are already now preparing this. We have a massive program under the self-help group where we are supporting through the mission, mushroom mission we have, where these logs are being now given and training is being given, finance is being given. The people are being sent to Japan, to Miyagi to be trained. I will be going myself maybe in about 2-3 months' time to Miyagi to further expand into what more could be done. So again, as I said, we are not a large state. And hence, looking at huge production is not our forte. For us, it is high-value products which are good to be grown in our state and market them to people through the technology and the variety that they would want in the way that they would want it. So we're very specific in what we're doing. And as I said, shiitake mushroom, buckwheat, we've started planting and growing buckwheat, again in collaboration with Japan, and we're going to take that forward. So I think agriculture is one area we're very keen to move forward. And the last, of course, second last, I should say, last in terms of the areas which we already are working in, second last in terms of the next idea which we have. Tourism is, of course, a big thing for us. And last year, we had, in fact, a section where we had the Japanese traditional custom of hanami in our cherry blossom. And there were the studios from Japan. The TRTL studio from Tokyo in Japan was engaged, where we had more than 20 to 30 stalls showcasing different products from Japan. Different restaurants were there, different experiences were there. So a large section in the entire festival area was dedicated to Japan. And this process started about 5 years back, but then we have now really taken it exponentially ahead, and we are very happy that we are now doing it in a much larger scale, and I hope that this could become something much, much bigger than what we have. And of course, many, many other areas that we are very happy to work forward in. The last point, which I feel is something that we really need to learn and collaborate and get ideas from a nation like Japan, is in the terms of education. And this is something that I've been really thinking about, and I thought this platform is a good platform to share that. And we, the Meghalaya government and our state, may be one of the first states in the country where we have adopted what we call a life cycle approach to a child's life, which means that we don't start thinking about the person only when they are in their teens or when they are old. So you need to see and intervene as a government every step along the way. So a child's life starts from the moment the person is conceived in a mother's womb. The brain of the child grows 80% between the age of 1 and 8. The most important psychological impact that the youths that go through is between the age of 8 to 13, that's the adolescence age. And then, of course, teenage comes in. Now, for us as a government and as a policy, as policymakers, we start thinking about the child only when they're in their teens and say, now metric exam has come, let's see whether they do good or not. And we don't realize that we have lost that period of time when they were 1 to 8, when their brain, the cognitive capacity, thinking capacity was growing. We need to invest in that. Meghalaya has a program called the Early Childhood Development Program, which we have tied up with the ADB, and we have got the Adolescence Program, which we have tied up with the World Bank, and both these programs are taking place. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this to you is that wherever I have read a bit from the Japanese, policy making and all, there's a lot of investment that is made by Japan in the younger days on aspects of value, principle, discipline, and way of life. And for us, we don't do that or do not realize it, only when things start going wrong. So I think there's a collaboration that should happen. We need to learn from how these aspects of discipline, principle, as I said, hard work, and respect for so many things, I think these are important aspects that we need to inculcate in the young generation from a very, very young age, especially when they are in the early childhood development, even before they start going to school. So rather than them starting to learn maths and science from class 3, 4, I mean, by the age of 4, 5, 6, I think these investments are important, and Meghalaya is doing it. We have just started. We're not saying we're far ahead. We're just starting. But I think this is one area I will be really focusing on, and I wish to really find a way in which we can partner to really bring up this entire system so that we're able to produce. So we have a very small population. But my idea being that our small state and our small population, if trained well, we can be as good as any big state or a big nation and be able to contribute much more. You know, just because we have less population doesn't mean we cannot contribute more. It depends on how we plan, how we focus, and how we build up our manpower and our human resource. And that's really what our target is. And we are on track to do that. But I think nations like Japan, who have already proved it, are nations with which we should work with, and we will be working. And that's another reason, as I said, why we have been very particular to work with Japan. And we said we're going to choose few nations, but we're going to be having good relationship. We'll do few things, but we'll do them well. And last, just talking about the entire activities going on now with Japan and India, especially Meghalaya, a lot of projects going on in infrastructure. And I really would like to see, without going too much into details, I really would like to see that, a study, it needs to be done, or an assessment needs to be done towards the investments made already, and how these investments that we have made could unlock larger value and opportunities by just putting a bit more investment into the entire system. And I'll just give you a small example. Today, there's the bridge that's coming in from Phulbari to Dhubri. There's going to be 4,000 plus crores being spent on this. Now, if you're going to only look at the link that's going to happen between that and going down to Dalu and then to Bangladesh, we are looking at just one channel. Now, is there another way for us to be able to increase the potential of this investment made into the Dhubri bridge by connecting more links to it? So you've invested, say, 4,000 crores. Can the state government, central government, JICA, and other agencies work to see how we could tweak things and increase the value of this investment into, maybe 10x? And I was just explaining that this entire road economic corridor that we have from Dalu going all the way to Ratachara and down to Silchar. This road across the border of Meghalaya, already large sections of these roads are constructed already by NHAI, NHIDCL, Ministry of Road and Surface Transport, and maybe about 20%, 30% the gaps are there. If we just invest in those gaps and connect and make this corridor a full corridor, we are looking at this Dhubri bridge being, again, multiple utility coming in from entire trade of Meghalaya, a lot of trade coming in from Bangladesh, and maybe some even connecting via Barak Valley, Mizoram, Manipur, and down to Tripura also. So like that, I think it'll be important for us to kind of do a assessment of the investments made already and kind of doing an audit, whether they are giving the results that they should be, and what we could do to simply supplement the efforts and the investments made and make them even better. So I think this thought process is required. States need to sit together. I have mentioned this in the NEC meetings. I've mentioned this in the donor meetings. I've always talked that the Northeast states must work together. We are different states, but we are a region. For the rest of the world, they look at Northeast as a region, and the combination of those states together is much more powerful proposition for the world and for the rest of the country also. And therefore, there's a huge requirement, and I'm happy that we're seeing this. Our current donor minister is very, very aggressive, very, very progressive, and he has got very great ideas, and we're working very closely. And I really am seeing that if these, as Sabyasachi has mentioned, dots are actually connected together, there's a huge potential that can be unlocked. As I said, I can keep going on and on, so I will not do that anymore. But as I said, apart from all these areas, there's so many important aspects of geopolitics that is important out here, and so many other aspects which we all know is very important. And therefore, the relationship with Japan and India is very crucial, even from a global perspective, whether it's talking of our routes or different aspects of trade, different aspects of sea routes. All these aspects are very crucial and important for us to keep in mind when we look at our relationship and the long-term working between our two nations. And I'm very happy to see that there's so many investors from private sector are here today to be part of this program. I hope that it doesn't end with the valedictory and the closure of this program. I hope that this should be the beginning of things to happen. And let it be small. Let it be one step at a time. But let us be ready for a long journey together. And I think that thought process is very important. Not to expect that we'll see results today, tomorrow, but knowing that we need to put in efforts, we need to work hard, we need to build relationships and take things forward. And that's how things will happen. And therefore, I wish this program, and more importantly, I wish the future of each and every one of you of the states of Northeast a very positive future. And I really have huge expectations. And yes, I'll be going to Japan again very soon for the cherry blossom, because as I said, I'm committed to this relationship. I'm committed to our future together. And I see a huge possibility between Meghalaya and Japan, of course, and obviously Northeast and the country, our great nation of India and the great nation of Japan together. So with these few words, I thank Asian Confluence for the wonderful program. I thank our ambassador for taking his time out, and all of you for taking your time out and coming and being part of this program. I wish all of you the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. A very inspiring speech indeed. And you've been very right in saying that it's a very special relationship that we have with Japan. We are natural partners. We have complementarities, including insofar as our demographies are concerned. And it's so good to see collaboration grow between our countries. And particularly when you mentioned this cooperation in growing buckwheat and shiitake mushrooms in Meghalaya, I think that's a wonderful project indeed. We'll also take on board your suggestions. Particularly, I think very valuable is that we do an assessment of the investments that have been done and what more can be done. And there are a lot of very important people, policymakers here, people who execute, I think, policy also. And I'm sure that we will take your suggestions back very seriously and work on it. Thank you again, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have with us, very fortunate to have with us, the Japanese ambassador to India, His Excellency Ambassador Ono Keiichi. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of questions to ask him, but I'm going to utilize the privilege of my position and ask him a question. He's been very kind to agree that he will respond to it. We'll cover a lot of what we have been discussing over the last day and a half. Excellency, my question to you is, what are your initial perspectives on human resource development and people-to-people exchanges, as well as connectivity in this region as a pivot for India-Japan collaboration? I'd like to speak from there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wadhwa. And before making my comments, Honorable Chief Minister, thank you very much for your speech. And I've been very impressed by Chief Minister's very strong commitments to the partnership between Meghalaya and Japan. And also at the same time, I'm very impressed by Chief Minister's big vision for the development of the state and of the region on the whole. Mr. Wadhwa, thank you very much for asking me question. Before getting into the question as such, I believe that for the connectivity, well, in this forum, many people have touched upon the word connectivity. I believe that this has three dimensions according to my experience. So the first is hardware infrastructure, so roads, bridges, buildings, and others. Japan has been working very hard, including JICA, of course, and JPIC, establishing the hardware infrastructures in India and particularly in the Northeast. The second area is soft infrastructures, including, say, harmonization of the custom systems between the nations, India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal. They may have some different systems about the customs clearance, for example, papers, documents, but to facilitate the connectivity and the software, we need to work on that. The third area is connectivity of people, human resources. That is also very crucial after or at the same time of developing the hard and soft infrastructures. Then let me come back to the question the Ambassador Wadwa posed. Japan has been working a lot on the people-to-people exchanges, or the third aspect, human resources connectivities. Let me raise 3 points. First, skilled workers. As Chief Minister just stated, we are very keen on accepting many skilled workers from the state of Meghalaya and the whole Northeast India. Under the scheme of TITP, SSW, we are very happy to accept the people. From this state, many young talents, about 50 Meghalayan people, been to Japan to work, and they are very well received and highly valued by the Japanese organizations or the Japanese villages, Japanese hospitals, because they are very skilled and very, similar. Their work habits are very similar to ours. So we expect that the number of those skilled workers from the Meghalaya and other states in these regions to go to Japan. We'd like to support that. And I'm very impressed by the video in the YouTube that the Chief Minister met with a nurse, Meghalaya nurse, in Japan when he visited to Japan. So please look at it. The second is human resources development in industries, businesses, agriculture, or renewable energy sectors, for example. As we've discussed in this conclave yesterday and today, we have a lot of potentialities or already ongoing programs. The Japanese companies' businesses are very well known for educating, training the people in their own companies, needless to say. That applies to the business bases in India as well. So we try to continue to enhance this human resources development areas in the coming years. The third area is education, academics, Japanese languages. In Meghalaya, for example, Women's College Shillong, they have the online Japanese language course and by the support of the Japan Foundation. We are very happy if there would be more and more academic institutions or language institutions in Meghalaya or other states for the um, such language training or educations. And academic exchanges are very important as the foundation of people-to-people, nation-to-nation relationships. So again, the Japanese government embassy is very happy to support it. So I'm very pleased and I'm very proud that Japan has been committing to working to enhance our relationship with the entire region here by all Japanese government, embassy, business, academic institutions, and more grassroots people. We'd like to nurture the partnership with this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your really sort of elaborating on the main priorities for Japan in the region. But I must also tell you personally that once you come here, you'll keep coming to the Northeast, which is what happens to all of us. It's the most wonderful part of this country. So I'm sure you'll be coming back again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what really leaves, we are left with now is to request Adachi-san to please join us here and to offer the vote of thanks. And again, I'll use this opportunity to thank the Sasakawa Peace Foundation for their support. Adachi-san.
So, first of all, I very much appreciate it. Great honor to be here as one of the person of for organizing this the conference conclave, and also I was very much passionate from the very valuable, very much strong commitment of the Honorable Chief Minister of the Meghalaya. And so I feel very much frankly the importance of the leadership of the local government, not only limited in the central government and the private sector. Initiative of the states, the Western commitment to move forward the development is very much a key. We respect the private sector's initiative and also the strong support mechanism framework of the both government, central government to central government. And through the JICA and then other public entity support a lot to realize this connectivity in this region. So in addition to that, such the initiatives, the initiative and the strong commitment and the leadership of the states government is very much crucial. And also I realized that a lot of the potential existed in each state in Northeast. As you know, that in this Northeast region, we have the 8 states. And each state has the very much unique characteristics, ethnicity, and nature of the natures, and the water resources, and natural resources, and so many potentials. And also, that we have to understand more about the differences. So, and from the Honorable Chief Minister, we got the lot of potential of the human resources. Young resources, they are very much value. Maybe this is the very strong value of this Meghalaya state. And also, I heard that a lot of the water resources and also the greenery, the states, and very strong potential of the agriculture. So those are the potential, the resources the Meghalaya state has. So we have to more carefully about the differences and the potential of each state. That is some very important points when we think about the connectivity in this region. So we have to try to connect with each state. We cannot, even in the same states, there is very much variety of the ethnicity and the histories also. So, but anyhow, we thank you very much for the very much valuable presentation and address. We get very much the energy to move forward together. Thank you very much.
May I request the honorable members of the panel and the Honorable Chief Minister to please come on stage, gather on stage for a group photograph. We have another photo after that with the rest of the delegates. May I request all the honorable members of the panel to please stand on the floor facing the stage so that we can take a photograph with the rest of the delegation. Request everyone standing behind to please come closer so that we can get a good photograph. On behalf of everyone, we would like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister for taking out time and being here today and gracing this occasion.